The fight for equality and for diversity has been a long journey in society and in the fashion industry. Today, in 2020, we still have a long way to go. And the time has come to collectively call the fashion world to task regarding inequality in our workspaces and in our industry. A powerful sense of urgency has been spoken out aloud around the world with the Black Lives Matter movement. Paris, cure of the Enlightenment century, home of the revolution, and now the city of lights. It's fashion's central stage and its leader. The time has come to build a more equitable industry with a good form of checks and balances. It starts now, in France. I am Naomi Campbell, and I declare Paris Couture Fashion Week ouvert. Merci.
This year's Couture Fashion Week opening was like no other, delivered by one of the most prominent black voices in the industry. The pandemic has forced collections off the catwalk, with designers taking to social networks to communicate their message.
When it comes to designing fashion, there's always this idea of anticipating what's going to happen next. Not just picking up on the mood of the times, but concretely anticipating the trends to come, whether that be aesthetically or economically or socially. Right now, it's about putting on a show of resilience, and of course to make sure that each label can really put forward their creativity with their collections, but also to ensure that Paris can really maintain its position as the global capital of fashion.
For weeks now, Dior's workshops have been working with even more precision than usual. Their models have been created in miniature.
We knew we weren't going to be able to do a real show. It was immediately clear to me that my frame of reference had to be in line with the world of dreams and fantasy. And more precisely, that it would be inspired by one of my favorite films, Tale of Tales, by one of my favorite ever directors, Matteo Garrone. At the beginning, I was scared of suggesting something so unusual, that is, making a film using inanimate figures, about the story of a trunk that contains all these historical references. During the Second World War in France, there was something called the theatre of fashion. It was nothing less extraordinary than a collaboration between artisans, rather artists, and couturiers. What did they do? Well, in that extremely difficult situation, they came together to create dolls that were dressed in these amazing outfits. And the artists created the sets, the backdrops for these dolls' lives. And those dolls then went on to travel around the world, and in a way ended up promoting the idea that French haute couture was still alive and well.
Independent labels have also got creative in promoting their collections. The Parisian Alexandre Vauthier is one of a number of designers choosing not to appear personally in his film.
We needed to be extremely efficient. We focused primarily on 3 areas. The idea was to employ the vocabulary of certain directors and photographers to express their artistic sensibilities through my collection. It worked so well. Basically, we just freed our to-do list of all the normal restraints and restrictions. I said to the team, do what you want with my clothes, you choose the models, you do the styling, you choose where we do it, you've got free rein, and it worked really well.
For the setting of his film, Franco-Italian couturier Maurizio Galante chose the stairs of his apartment block. His model was Amalia Varelli, once a muse of Yves Saint Laurent.
The one thing that's been really affected by everything that's happening right now is our emotions. The emotion of connecting with an item of clothing, the emotion of creating clothes, the emotion of buying clothes, the emotion involved in wearing clothes. All of that's really important. And that's what I wanted to express with my video. The video is all about getting ready to go out. What happens before you head out? All those moments that can be really short, but also sometimes really long. All those moments that are focused on where the night will take you.
Far from Paris, in her Amsterdam studio, Iris van Herpen continues to work on her haute couture. It's conceptual, but also anchored in reality.
I choose consciously to create haute couture, which is really about craftsmanship and also about sustainability and trying to revision fashion as it is. And I think the pandemic made me realize this even more, how important that element of change is, actually. I hope and want to add to inspire the industry to work with different materials, to create new techniques. I think these months more and more people have expressed their vision within that will of change.
Haute couture is having to evolve, while also remaining the embodiment of sartorial indulgence, and it seems this most beguiling form of French soft power is up for the challenge.